Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Medaka Kuroiwa is Impervious to My Charms, Season 1, Episode 4. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Immediately picking up where the last episode left off. The love bridge that Mona's like, oh, all these people here seeing me with Medaka, she's like, they're going to get the wrong impression. For her, it's like her biggest concern was, last thing I want is this to fuel Tsubomi's perspective on this even more. So she immediately is like, yo, like, look, this isn't what it is. We're just here to promote the cafe at our cafe at the festival. You know, because last thing you want is more rampant speculation. Not only will you make Tsubomi like even more like, oh my god, I knew it, you'll also make other people into Tsubomis too, which we generally don't know how most people would feel about, like, guys and girls. Guys, you know, there's plenty of people that love Mona that want to date Mona. So there's that. We kind of get a little bit of that perspective with Yuzuru later on, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. But other than that, like, we don't know of how... I mean, most guys will probably be like, oh, that's cool. And most girls will probably be happy, maybe. I'm sure there might be girls who aren't too happy about, like, you know, that might cause issues for Medaka later on, you know, because she has a rampant fan base. You know, most people love and adore her. So who knows what that could really mean, kind of gaining the ire of people. But I guess you kind of get a little bit of that this episode too. But like I said, we'll get to it when we get to it. And Medaka was like, cool, no, Mona, sorry. It's like, cool, I got it. I averted this catastrophic situation, this misunderstanding. But then she's like, then again, this would be the perfect opportunity. And it's just like, well, she's so two minds of it. She can't just stay with one thought, because she's like, no, even though this could be a misunderstanding, I still got to use this opportunity. And so she ends up telling Medaka about it and ends up falling. And she's like, oh, I'm going to reach out my hand. He's totally going to grab my hand. And it's like, I'm going to live rent-free in his head because of this. And she's like, yeah, the moment you touch my hand, just hurry up and you're mine. And what does he do? He reaches by her sides, like under her armpits, and pulls her up. But that's even more embarrassing for her. She's like, why'd he go for my armpits? You know? So that didn't work. And so... that kind of failed, and now her continued efforts, especially because it's nearing the end of the festival. She's like, we got an hour left. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make you like me. But then it's like, oh, that gets brought back to the cafe, and it kind of ruins any chances and stuff. So you're like, oh, that sucks. And the final situation was Tsubomi playing wingman, being like, oh, can you guys move these tables here for us? And it works out. You know, Tsubomi's still trying to like give every opportunity she can between them. And for her, she's a little disappointed, Mona is, because she's thinking about like, oh man, like him grabbing her by the armpits, but she's also thinking like, right, he didn't have much fun today. Why would he? Because everything I did didn't match up. It didn't, like, you know, because her every attempt she had this episode, or the last episode, to try and like sway him didn't work out. And because I think she also wasn't thinking about it, because Medaka was paying attention to it, because he's like, basically in his head, it's like, well, it's fine because we're carrying the table and we're not touching hands, so it's fine. Because he recognized where they were. I don't think Mona recognized, because she was so busy, like, so down about it. She's like, no, I'll be able to focus on everything. Like, I'll be able to watch myself. All I have to do is look down and look at your feet. Because she's also like, I can't look at your face right now. Because she's like, I can't even muster up the fake smile and stuff, just because she's so disappointed about the situation. Either way, a box is going to fall on her, and he grabs her hand, and it's like they've touched hands and they're on the bridge, and he kind of pushes her away. He's like, yo, I'm sorry, that doesn't mean anything because the festival was already over, so it doesn't technically count. And she's like, yeah, sure. But he tells her, like, yeah, I did in fact have fun here today. So, you know, but just like Mona is that's the thing, they're so caught up in their own worlds. Like Mona, she gets peeks into the fact that she is having an effect on Medaka, but he's so good at like pushing it away, pretending like it doesn't have an effect on him. But she's so caught up thinking about them holding hands, and obviously she's not letting Tsubomi know about that. But obviously for Medaka, he's trying his hardest not to get swayed by that too. Once again, the temptation of this place is just too much. So they eventually all go out for bowling, and then you have that situation where it's like he's drinking a drink, but he's also conflicted because he's thinking about it. He's like, oh God, this is too much. I forgot what it was that made her initially run away from him. I don't remember what it was. there was something that happened that made her super embarrassed, and she's like, I got to get away from it. Oh, like, because she was high-fiving everybody, and then she was getting ready to go up to Medaka, and she's like, oh, let's do this. But then, like, before he could even do it, he was about ready to do it because he lifts up his hands, but the moment she sees his hands, all she could do is think about them holding hands at the bridge, and because of that, she got super embarrassed. It's like, oh, my laces are messed up, gotta go. And I love during that scene, you could just hear Tsubomi's like taking a whole bunch of pictures of her, and she's running away. But Medaka, it meant a lot to him too because he's never high-fived a girl before, and he's like, oh, like if it wasn't for her shoelaces, I would have. But he's like, no, stupid, why are you even thinking about that? Why is that even crossing your mind? Clear your mind, clear your mind. What are you doing? And then you have Mona over there being like, crap, I came back and sat over here. I could have sat with him. That would have been the perfect opportunity. So she gets up and she's got this scowl on her face. It's like she's not even like her. And she's like, and then she puts on the performance of, yeah, can I sit beside you? Oh my God, I'm so thirsty. Oh, your drink here. And then she's like, okay, I could do this. Do you know who you're up against? Medaka Kuroiwa. And then she's like, I'm Mona Kuroiwa. And she like drinks and, you know, ends up being a whole indirect kiss. I was like, is no one else going to notice this? It doesn't seem like anyone else did. So it was a moment between them. And she's like, cool. Thank you. That was so good. Here, you could have it back. And he's just like stone-faced. He's like, no, I'm good. You can have that. I'm going to go bowl. So it's like, that didn't work out. Then the next day, really quickly, there was this little, like, it's only like 2 or 3 seconds. She is texting her friend being like, hey, I look super cute. Hey, I look super cute. And her friend was like, yeah, it's her redheaded friend. So I'm wondering, are we going to find out that her friend is one of the few people? And this is something I had brought up previously. I think last episode I talked about. I wonder, is that also an element of she's able to be, even though she's putting on a performance to try and like sway Medaka, even though it is working, like maybe she's going to be a little more vulnerable and a little more real about how she feels. Because once again, it's all for the performance of, I'm trying to get you to like me because you've been impervious to my charms. But now it's like my heartbeat, I'm talking about, I'm doing stuff that's like, oh, Medaka, your heartbeat's going to beat, right? But Mona's heart's the one that's also beating too. Not realizing she is having an effect on Medaka. He's just like burying it super deep, trying not to get swayed. But my point was, like, I brought up, like, maybe there's a genuine thing there where she can actually be a little bit more herself. I wonder if that's kind of her thing with her friend. Like, maybe it isn't just Medaka who's the only one impervious to her charms. Maybe her friend is too, because her friend was like, yeah, you're cute. And the way it was like the line, like the text, which is like, yeah, you're cute. And the line delivery makes it sound like it's just like yeah, you're cute, whatever. I wonder if it is a thing of her friend is like one of the few people who kind of isn't, who is also impervious to her charms. Is like, yeah, you're cute and everything, but like I'm the only person that's real with you. Like everything else is built off the facsimile of like you being so charming and people being so swayed by you. I'm not, and now Medaka is too, but he's also like able to kind of push away that being charmed. So that's what I kind of read from that. Once again, it's like on screen for like it's a 2-second scene, but it still makes me wonder, like, you know, I could easily be reading way too much into that. But putting that aside, it's time for winter uniforms and stuff. And Medaka's just trying to be like, no, like I'm good, I'm fine, the cold is fine. And at first I was like, why is he like that? Like, why isn't he trying to have that conversation with her? But she's just like, okay, that's kind of a moot point. So Sho and Yuzuru call him out. And it's just kind of the thing of, yo, don't you see what Medaka's doing? Mona's doing, Medaka? She's being so nice to you and you're being so cold to her. It's like, we get it. You're not supposed to have any romantic relationship with girls, but does that mean you have to be mean to her? It's like she's reaching out to you. And I think for Medaka, it's like he's so busy trying to avoid her because he's like, yo, like she's the one that keeps approaching me and making me feel a certain way. But he kind of, I think what they say kind of registers with him because it's like he wasn't trying to be rude to her. He was just being very dismissive. From the outside perspective, it can't seem like that, where she's not meaning, because that's the messed up irony behind it, because they're looking at it like, yo, Medaka, Mona's just a very nice, cool, cute person, and she's trying to reach out to you. She's been trying to reach out to you ever since you transferred here, and you've just been nothing but mean and rude and pushing her away, which the irony is, it's not like Mona doesn't have the best of intentions. She's coming at this from the most effed up of places of, hey, I'm trying to get close to you just so that you fall for me just because you've proven to be impervious to my charms. And I you know, she doesn't have the most altruistic reasons why she's being nice to Medaka. So like, it's just, that is the irony behind it. So from the outside perspective, you can get it, but like, because once you understand why they had that perspective, but we as the audience go like, no, she doesn't have the best of intentions. But it still is that thing of, but they do have a point too where it's like, you don't have to be completely rude. I mean, once again, we haven't really, outside of Sho and Yuzuru, like, we haven't really seen Medaka interact with anyone else either. And that's the same thing with Mona. Like, I think I brought that up too. It's like, Mona's like the only person he's continuously interacting with. To be fair, it's because she's reaching out first. And it's, once again, it's all for his training. But it's like, yeah, you're not supposed to have relationships with girls. Doesn't mean you have to be rude to them. But even Yuzuru is kind of like, personally, I'm fine with it, because he's like one less love rival. And that's why I was kind of bringing up earlier of like, well, we know Yuzuru, like, it's like, yeah, but he does admit there are other rivals at the school, how they would feel if things kind of keep escalating and making it seem like there's something going on between the two of them. But Sho's perspective is just like, yo, all you have to do is just not fall for her. And if you do that, then it's fine. Like, you can be friends with girls, right? You can be nice to her and she's being nice to you. So, and that gave him something to chew on, especially when Tsubomi is like, yo, Mona's being so nice to you, and you're so cold, you're being the coldest. Like, and she's so disappointed in him. And now he's getting it from 3 different people, and he's like, right. So when she's missing her, and he sees her in the hallway helping out a teacher, he's like, right, she's a really nice person. And it's like, from Medaka's perspective, it's he probably looks at it as like, right, she doesn't have any ulterior motives. She's just being extremely friendly. She's not meaning anything by it, even though, ironically, she is meaning everything behind it, because this is some evil mastermind plan to be super cute to make you fall for her for selfish, egotistical reasons of, I can't let my ego get shattered by the fact is that you kind of aren't falling for me like literally every person in the world does. So yeah, that's the beautiful irony behind that. But yeah, he once again thinks about the fact that she is a nice person. She's been nice to me. And so it's like, when the opportunity arises, hey, I'm going to share my book with you. And she's like, oh, really? And she is ready to slide her desk over. My thought, what happened was, I thought like she got so excited, she slammed her desk into his and kind of pushed him away. It's like, no, on reflex, he immediately grabbed his desk and moved it. And he's like, I didn't mean to do that. And she was kind of bummed, because she's like, damn it, that was a great opportunity. I kind of screwed it there. But then Medaka was like, sorry, you moved so suddenly. And so he brings his desk closer and they share the book. So it's like, hey, we're taking a step in the right direction. And for Medaka, it's like, cool, as long as I don't fall for it, it's okay. So that's going to be complicated, because it's, Mona's going to double her efforts, because she's going to feel like, hey, I'm making progress. But it's going to be an interesting thing going forward, considering Medaka is probably going to read, like, he's going to feel a certain way about it. He's going to be like, oh my God, that's all, like, both of them are going to feel like it's a one-sided thing. Mona's going to feel like, hey, I'm making all these efforts with Medaka and he's not feeling it, even though he is feeling it. And then Medaka's going to be like, I'm feeling this and I feel weird about it, but Mona doesn't mean anything by it. I'm reading way too much into it. I think that's definitely going to be the dynamic going forward, but it's going to be even more push and pull, especially because Medaka is being pushed by Sho and Yuzuru to be nicer to Mona, and he's trying to be, because it's like, hey, she is a friend, she's trying to be nice. Because I don't think he would even register them as friends right now, because I think he's just kind of like, oh, she's a girl in my class that's being very nice to me. So I mean, we also don't know if, like, before he transferred here, maybe like Medaka didn't have really many friends. Like I said, we see him with the guys, but like he doesn't really interact, but maybe he does. But he's always with them, and once again, they're the only people at the school who knows his circumstances. So it's a very, very interesting development. Interested to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.